whatever the hell that is. Welcome to Ranger Reviews, a web series we look at episodes of the TV show Power Rangers and then discuss them. Today we're exploring the 124th episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, as well as the 12th episode of Season 3 titled Stop the Hate Master, Part 1. We begin this episode at Angel Grove High, where Aisha and Kim are checking club rosters, and apparently Kim got into the club, but Aisha didn't. Also, the club head, Veronica, is to blame. She comes over and Kim asks why Aisha didn't make the club, and Veronica makes it clear that Aisha didn't have the right qualifications. She walks away and Kim is kind of clearly feeling a little guilty. At the youth center, Aisha is working out and she thinks that Veronica just hates her and Kim is trying to comfort her. Kim plans to find out why she didn't get into the club. On the moon, Zed is being a peeping Tom and he decides to use hate as a buzzword this time around for the monster. Also, Rita wants to know what he's going to get her for their anniversary. Has it actually been a year? No. Outside the youth center, the Ranger boys are helping Ernie by getting rid of some graffiti that's plastered onto the wall. Tommy wants to find out who's been doing this. Bulk is looking for Skull and he's apparently under a table in the youth center talking on his shoe phone. Kim asks Veronica why Aisha didn't get in the club again, and Veronica gets really bitchy immediately. Veronica explains that there's an income requirement for entering the club, and Kim defends Aisha, saying that she shouldn't be in either, but it turns out it's only because Kim's mom was in the club. Oh, and also they're stomping on Skull's fingers this entire time. Then Bulk finds him and does it too. Great way to undercut an actually good scene, guys. On the moon, Finster gives Zed seeds to be thrown down to Earth. Now Zed must recite an incantation with Rita, which is super cringeworthy. From the deepest darkness of eternal hate, from the moons of Manta to the seas of Demontate. What the hell does that even mean? Whatever, it works, growing the seeds into a rapping monster named the Hate Master, but he seriously has no flow. At the youth center, Aisha is mad that she didn't get in the club because of her family's income, and Kim says that it's kind of disgusting, so she quit the club. Kim says that judging people is totally uncool, but then Aisha says, okay, bye, because her grandma's visiting, so she's just running home. The others walk in and Kim explains what's going on, and she joins them as they're also walking home. Zed says that they have to get something that the Rangers have touched so that they can be given hate dust? Whatever, the Tangas are now present, attacking the 5 Rangers. Ninja Ranger power now! This fight lets the stuntmen show off once more before we start getting some more of the deceptive maneuvers from Billy and Adam, who literally go underground. This is honestly a really cool fight until Kim is just being taken away by Tangos, and then of course she has to scream for Tommy like a stereotype. Then she plants her poon on his head, and they summon laser power. In Aisha's home, we meet her grandmother as Aisha comes in hugging her. Grandma immediately knows that something is up with her granddaughter, and she asks what's up. Aisha explains the situation with the club. Grandma makes a good point. Why would Aisha even want to be a part of something like that? And Aisha explains that it just hurt her feelings and it kind of made her mad. And her grandma says that it's because that some people have really small minds. Then she just gives Aisha a large pendant as a token of how much her grandma loves her. Meanwhile, Squat shows up with a space dustbuster to suck up some dirt from around the Rangers' feet as they're fighting the Tangas, who then bail. They rip off their ninja clothes before Billy points out that the Hate Master who takes the dust from Squat. He also struggles through some couplet rhymes before he hits them with evil dust to make them hate. At the command center, the alarms go off and Alpha literally knows that there's hate dust present there. What? Alpha can't get in touch with the Rangers. Then the Hate Master talks for like 3 minutes too long while the Rangers keep struggling, but then he literally starts singing the Power Rangers theme song. The particles go away as their communicators go off, and Tommy answers. Zordon tells them that they've got to get to the command center ASAP, and Tommy tells him to shove it. Then Billy asks why he's even hanging out with the intellectually challenged, which really sounds like he's calling the others mentally retarded. Then he and Kim argue for a little bit before Adam and Rocky just start yelling at each other for no reason. Zed holds Rita's hand talking about how great they're doing. They cross staffs, making the hate monster grow giant. Did they not realize that the Yellow Ranger was missing? Alpha updates Zordon on the situation, and Zordon tells Alpha to get in touch with Aisha. Her communicator goes off while she's with her grandma, and she makes some excuse for her grandma to leave the room. Zordon catches her up on the situation, and Aisha's plan is to talk to the other Rangers. She teleports by them and she tries to talk to them, and after they insult her, the spell is suddenly gone. Whatever, it's morphin' time. They immediately call out their ninja zords and Zed is mad that the spell wore off. He says that it wasn't a strong enough dose, so it's going to have to work with a stronger dose now. Then the particles are coming out, hitting the Rangers and their individual Zords, and Kim has a perfect moment.
I'm not doing this anymore.
Aisha is also still unaffected for some reason. Everyone ejects from their Zords because this fight was a huge waste of my time. On the ground, Aisha tries to talk some sense into them, but they decide they're just gonna go to the command center to bitch out Zordon. There, Tommy tells Zordon they're done fighting his battles for him. That was a little too real. They suddenly rip off their communicators and morphers, and Billy teleports them out. Aisha wonders why she wasn't affected, and Alpha will run a test to figure it out. Zordon warns that if they don't do this quick, everyone is going to die. To be continued. Over the credits, we see that Rito is freaking out because he sent a monster to Earth. What's going on here? This episode is somewhere between decent and cringe, like right in the middle. Amy Jo Johnson is really one of the only actors on this show that can actually make these awkward scenes and dialogue work, and David Yost is a close second. Everyone else is struggling very clearly with their performances when it comes to hate, and it's sometimes funny how bad it is. I will say though, this is one of the first times I've noticed that Karen Ashley is actually a good actress, and that's not a slight to her. I just think that she's clearly got a lot more invested in her role now, since it's been a long time since we've gotten any Aisha episodes, it seems. Other than that, how will this story resolve itself in part 2? I bet it's going to be some sort of bullshit, but until then, may the power protect you.